Hey everyone, I'm Cody Charnell, and this is episode 2 of the How to Analyze a Rental Property series. Today we're going to be looking at a duplex that recently sold here in Long Beach, and my client actually purchased this with FHA financing. So this is somebody who's never invested before, so great example of a first-time investment. So if you're in that same boat, this will be a great video for you. The goal of this series is to kind of show you how I analyze a property, give you practice to run through the numbers, and hopefully get you closer to your goal of building up a real estate portfolio. So the video is broken up into 3 sections. We're going to look at location, property details, and then numbers at the end. So feel free to jump around using the chapters below. If you get any value out of this video, I would love it if you would like and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get into it. Right, so our property address is 1415 Linden Avenue. Off of 14th and Linden, you're just 14 blocks to the beach. You're also going to be in a neighborhood called Poly High, and the area gets its name from the high school, which is right around the corner from our subject property. You can see it right here. And Poly is one of the most affordable neighborhoods in Long Beach, both from an investment perspective. So you're going to find good values here when you're looking to buy an investment property, but also from a rental perspective. So tenants who are looking to rent, Poly's going to have some of the most affordable rents. And we know that there's a housing crisis here in Southern California, and we also know it's very difficult to build affordable housing. So from a supply and demand perspective, you're kind of insulated because it's going to be difficult for a lot of new affordable housing to be built anywhere around your property, and it's going to keep demand strong for what you're looking to rent or what you own. So from that perspective, I think it's good to be in an area like this. You're also close to a lot of conveniences. So not only are you close to Long Beach Poly High School, you're close to Roosevelt Elementary. You also have Smart and Final right around the corner from the property, so it's easy walk over to get groceries. They're building a new Aldi grocery store as well on Anaheim here, and you're close to the Metro line. So Long Beach Boulevard is the street that the Metro line runs up and down, so you can take this down into downtown Long Beach or up into downtown LA if you want. So it's nice to be close to something like that. And Long Beach has designated certain neighborhoods for development. So you can see our subject property is right around here where my cursor is, and the orange highlights here are the Midtown specific plan. So basically, the city has said we want more high density housing close to public transit. So you'll see new construction kind of happening along Long Beach Boulevard. And if we go a little bit further south, the purple highlight here is the PD30 downtown plan. So this is another area where you're going to see a lot of new kind of high-rise construction. Most of the projects that are being built are more luxury housing because it's expensive to build. Developers need to be able to charge a lot to make those projects pencil out. So it's good. New construction makes neighborhoods feel a bit nicer. It also drives rents up over the long term. And if we look at our property on street view, you can get a sense of the neighborhood. So this is our subject property, so front house and back house. If we go south towards Anaheim, there's one block which is designated as a historical district, so you have kind of cool older homes. And then if we keep going, this is Anaheim, so you can see St. Mary's Hospital just across the way there. And then if we go out towards Long Beach Boulevard, towards the Metro line, you can see some of the new construction projects that are being built. So that's Anaheim Station, so tenants are a short walk away from catching the train. And then you have one new development, another new development. There's also a redevelopment project here where they took an old building and they converted it into a nice coffee shop. There's also a rock gym. So stuff like this wasn't in Poly High previously, so it's kind of interesting to see the neighborhood changing and getting a bit nicer. Okay, so now let's take a look at the property. So this one was originally listed for $1,090,000. They had it in escrow. It actually fell out of escrow, and then they dropped the price down to $949,000, which is where we were able to get the property into contract. So the first thing that jumps out to me when I'm looking at this listing is the size. So this one is 4167 square feet, which is massive for a duplex. Most 4-unit properties aren't even 4,000 square feet. So this is a ton of square footage for 2 units. The other thing that jumps out is the price per foot. So at $227 a foot, that's almost less than you could rebuild this property for. So you're buying this for less than the rebuild cost, which is great. it's not very clear here, but something else that's very important about this property, it's two separate houses on a lot. The front house is 1905 construction, but the house in the back was actually built in 2007. So with newer construction like that, you're going to have more modern plumbing, more modern electric. This one, they actually updated both electric panels when the back unit was built. So the front house now has a new main electric panel, which is great. And the square footage split between the houses. So the front house is 1786 square feet. It's 3 beds, 2 baths, plus you have 2 bonus rooms, which we'll look at in just a second. And then the back unit is 2381 square feet with some additional bonus stuff going on as well. Okay, so this is our front house. So this is the one 1910 square feet. And I mentioned 2 bonus rooms, which we'll look at the insides, but just to point them out on the outside. So one of those bonus rooms is going to be right here, kind of in this bump out. And then the other one is going to be right here. But going through the front door, this is what you'll see. So nice sized living area. Not super updated. Some people don't like the tile flooring, but I mean, it's not in bad shape. You could keep it the way it is. And pretty typical finishes for, you know, a 1910 property. This is our kitchen. So same tile floor. It looks like the kitchen cabinets have been updated. The counters are updated, not the best quality. I believe these ones are Formica, which isn't super durable, but you know, not bad. And then there's also a big dining area. This closet right here is a large pantry for food storage. First floor, there's a bedroom here, which is decent size. And then going upstairs, you have 1 bedroom here, kind of our master bedroom here. That's going to be the bonus room on that bump out on the 2nd floor. And then behind us is the bathroom for upstairs. But this is a master, so this one actually has 2 decent sized closets kind of in the pitch section of the roof. This is the bonus room, so not huge, but you know, a tenant who's renting out this house is probably going to use this as an office or a kid's room. This is the 2nd legal bedroom upstairs, so enough space for a couple beds. That's the closet over there. And then here's our upstairs bathroom. So it looks like this was updated at some point. It's a little rougher on the edges. You can see some wear on the vanity, but really not in bad shape. And then going back downstairs, this is that 2nd bonus room. This one was just being used for storage, but definitely enough space for an office, or, you know, like tenants are probably going to use this as another bedroom. So 3 bed, 2 bath, plus 2 bonus rooms for this front house. So now looking at photos for the back house. So this is going to be the front of the unit. You notice that there's 2 front doors. The one on the left is actually the entrance for that workshop space, and then the one on the right is the main front door. Walking through the front door, this is our living room. So 2007 construction. It has a modern floor plan, so well laid out. This is the downstairs full bathroom. So you have a shower, sink, and vanity in there, storage closet. Kitchen is going to be back this way. There's a small dining area, and then this door that's open here actually leads out to the garage. Here's another view of the living area, and then our kitchen. So I think these cabinets are original from when it was built in 2007. Not super nice, but really not bad either. Definitely still usable. This is one of the 2-car garages. So we'll take a look at the sheer size of these garages in just a second, but they have laundry set up down here. I think these garages are perfect for an ADU conversion, which we'll talk about in a second. And then this is going to be the workshop area. So this is 300 square feet. And you can see these tenants were using it as another bedroom. This is one of the legal bedrooms downstairs, so good size. And then going upstairs, we have 2 large bathrooms that look pretty much identical. So this one is one of them, and then this is actually the downstairs bathroom. So we were actually able to find an old drawing on the city website. So this shows the 2 existing units. So this front unit, as I mentioned, 1786 square feet. There was a garage which they removed, so there's still driveway parking here for the front unit. And then the back house here, you have these little triangles are garage parking spaces. So the 2-car garages are a total of 1,090 square feet. So if you did want to convert those into an ADU, that's probably enough square footage to add a 3-bedroom ADU. And then this is our workshop. So that has that front door plus a door that leads inside. So this is another 300 square feet on top of the 2381 square feet for this unit. So just a ton of space back here. All right, so now let's take a look at the numbers. So starting with financing. So like I mentioned before, we got this property into contract for $949,000. What I didn't mention is we also negotiated a credit of $35,000 with our initial offer. And so important thing to know about credits is they can only be applied towards closing costs. So you can't have a credit that exceeds closing costs and goes towards your down payment. Lender won't allow that. So that $35,000 paid for escrow and all those other fees. It also paid for upfront mortgage insurance because this is an FHA loan. You have upfront mortgage insurance. And then we had some credit left over. So we used the extra credit to buy down the interest rate. So the buyer put down 3.5%. The upfront mortgage insurance was covered by the closing costs. And then we also bought down the rate to 5.625%. FHA has upfront mortgage insurance and monthly mortgage insurance. So you'll see the monthly mortgage insurance listed here. So going to the unit mix and rents. So the 3-bed, 3-bath unit on top here, that's gonna be our back house. And the 3-bed, 2-bath, it's gonna be our front house. So we're estimating $3,400 for that back unit, a really big back unit with that workshop space. And then the front unit, we're estimating $3,200 a month. And one challenge we ran up against is there's not a lot of big rental comps. So we looked in 2 places to kind of come up with these numbers. The first place we looked was Long Beach Section 8 payment standards. So this property is located in the 90813 zip code. And for a 3-bed unit, Section 8 is willing to pay up to $3,263 a month. So for the front house, I think our estimate of $3,200 plus is pretty conservative, especially considering we have those 2 bonus rooms. For the back house, that's a newer construction unit. So we could definitely get that much. But there was one other kind of comp that we looked at that made us feel comfortable with that $3,400 a month number. So if we go back, this is actually the comp here, but let me show you where it is relative to our subject property. So right here is our subject property. If we zoom back out, this is the property we were just looking at. So this is a legal 4 unit plus an ADU, so a total of 5 units, and this was built in 2022. And let me pull up the listing for this one. So you can see 2022, and this was a big property, so 6,845 square feet of living space. And if we scroll down here, you can see the unit mix and rents. So this property has 3 5-bed, 4-bath units rented out for $4,000 a month, and then it has a 2-bed and a studio. And if we scroll up in the description here, it actually tells us the size of those big units. So they're just under 1,800 square feet. So that's the same size as our front house, but actually smaller than the back unit at our subject property. So I actually spoke with the developer of this property, and he says they build this type of property all over the place, and they kind of have different strategies depending on where the property is built. So if this was built near schools, they might target roommates. So, you know, people who are going to rent by the room to fill up those 5-bed units, and then they're able to get really strong rents. In a neighborhood like Poly High, instead of targeting roommates, he says that they target multi-generational households. So that's like grandparents, their kids, and then the grandkids all living under one roof. And he says benefits of renting to those types of tenants, it's typically cheaper for big families like that to live in one place as opposed to each paying for their own units. So they save money that way. And the other big benefit is they tend to stay for a really long time because it's hard to find really big units like this. So going back to our subject property, the new owner could look at both scenarios. So he could rent out that back house to a big multi-generational family who can afford to split that rent and have, you know, grandparents, parents kind of split and pay that $3,400 a month. I think that's a conservative rent for that. And in the front house, because this is an FHA loan, the new owner is required to live in one of the units. So if we go to our next page, so I just want to highlight something really quick. So cash flow. So the way this pro forma works is we have our mortgage payments, our other expenses, and then our total rental income. So total rental income's added up, less expenses, less mortgage payment, and it spits out our cash flow. So with rents of $3,400 in the back and $3,200 in the front, this property is going to be running a bit negative. So it'll be negative about $833 a month. So let's assume that the new owner moves into that front unit and he has to come up with $4,000 or $4,050 a month to basically get this property to break even. So he could rent out the other rooms in that unit to roommates. So let's say his total rent is $4,050 a month, and he's gonna rent out the three permitted bedrooms at $800 a month. And then he's gonna live in one of the bonus rooms as his living space. So his total cost to live in this property would be about $1,650 a month, which is a crazy good deal, especially considering he put down $33,000 to control a $950,000 duplex. He's gonna get to take advantage of all the appreciation, all the principal pay down on this property. The other big thing is the ADU. So he can add value to this property by making that third unit. So if he were to convert the garages, and let's say, we know the garages are 1,090 square feet. So if he converts both two-car garages into a 3-bed unit, and let's say it rents at $2,700 a month, that increases our monthly rental income pretty substantially, but we can also figure out the new property value based on our new rents. So if we were going to price this property at 12.5 times gross, that means the new value is just under 1.4 million. So by adding a third unit, he's adding about $450,000 of value. Cost to do the ADU, I'm gonna estimate 150 grand. So he will have to come up with that money somehow, whether it's financing it or just saving up. And then let's take out the ADU and just look at comps really quick for this one. So like I mentioned before, we're at $228 a square foot on this purchase and 11.98 times gross. And this is kind of where things were shaking out. So there's not a lot of duplexes this size. So the 4 duplexes that sold close by that were the biggest were all less than half the square footage. So this first one on Myrtle sold for $635, 2,050 square feet, sold at $309 a foot, and it sold at 11.75 times gross, which is actually really comparable to our subject property. But the big difference is that this one was midway through a renovation. The front house still needed plumbing to be complete, it needed electrical to be complete. So it wouldn't qualify for conventional financing, let alone FHA. The second one sold for $850. It was 2,036 square feet, so $417 a foot. And this one sold for 23.8 times gross based on the current rents. So there were tenants in this property who were paying below market rent. And then based on market rents, it would operate at 17.27 times gross. So way more expensive from an income perspective than our subject property. Third one sold for $800. It was 1,950 square feet, so $410 a foot and 12.12 times gross. This is actually not far off from our subject. This one, interiors were in similar condition to our subject property, but the exterior of this was in rough shape and also didn't have garages, so there's no ADU potential with this one. The last one sold for $725. It was 1,928 square feet, so that's $376 a foot. And based on market rents, we're at 14 times gross, basically. This one actually shows as a single family on the tax records, and they say there's a mother-in-law unit, but we didn't see any permits for it, so we're not sure if this is legally only supposed to be one unit. But if you average this out, our subject property sold for $150,000 a foot less than the average, and it sold for a better GRM. And we're getting one unit that's newer construction, we're getting huge garages with ADU potential, and we're double the square footage. So I'm really excited to see what my client does with this property. I think this is a great first investment, especially because he was able to utilize an FHA loan and use a lot of leverage, and he's still gonna be in a pretty good cash flow position, especially after that ADU is built. I would love to hear what you think about this deal. If you have any properties that you'd like me to do this type of analysis on, I would love it if you'd send them my way. And if you got any value out of this, please like and subscribe. And lastly, remember, invest well, trust Coheed Charno.